Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to tackle a truly massive milestone in your language journey. And that is breaking the mental translation habit. You know, if you're learning English, you've probably figured out by now that speaking fluently, it's not just about memorizing a dictionary or conquering grammar rules. No way. It's about completely changing the way you process the world around you. So today, we're looking at the actual mechanics of how to think in English naturally. Let's picture this scenario for a second. You're reading a book in English and you understand absolutely every word. You watch your favorite shows and you follow the plot effortlessly. You've got hundreds, maybe thousands of words stored safely in your memory. But the exact moment you step up to actually speak, your mind just hits a brick wall. It suddenly becomes incredibly slow. You know the vocabulary, you understand the reading, but you completely freeze. Look, it's deeply, deeply frustrating, but I really want to validate that experience for you right now, because you are not alone. This happens because of a very specific, invisible process going on right inside your head.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what's going wrong. Think about the trap a lot of us fall into. You have a thought, you form the sentence in your native language, you actively translate those words into English in your mind, and then you finally speak. Honestly, that is a tremendously slow process. By the time you're ready to say your piece, the conversation has already moved on. But look at the alternative, going straight from direct English to speaking. This is the fast process. Fluent speakers don't have some super speed translator in their heads, right? They simply bypass the native language altogether.
Let's pause here for a quick teachable moment to look at a phrase we use to describe that slow process, double work, because that's exactly what your brain is doing when you translate. You aren't just communicating, you're doing the exhausting mental labor of constantly bridging two entirely separate language systems. It's physically and mentally draining. When your brain does double work for every single sentence during a 10-minute conversation, of course speaking feels stressful and unnatural. You're basically running a mental marathon while just trying to casually chat with a friend.
Step 1. Rewire with small thoughts.
We really have to start small here. Don't try to think in long, complex, philosophical paragraphs right away, because that's just a recipe for burnout. The absolute keyword for this entire strategy is rewire. To rewire means to actually change the physical structure or the ingrained habits of your brain through consistent, repeated actions. Think of it like walking through a dense forest. The very first time you walk a new path, you've got to push branches out of the way. It's super difficult, but if you walk that exact same path every single day, it becomes a clear, easy trail. Even if your English isn't perfect right now, you can actively train your brain's physical pathways to think in a new language. You just have to build that path.
And here's exactly how you clear that path, with the simplest thoughts possible. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Before you even get out of bed, your first thoughts are usually something like, I'm tired, I need coffee, today's going to be busy. Claim those thoughts for your English practice. These are highly practical examples of how to start your day. Your focus here is entirely on consistency, not perfection. You're just proving to your brain, right as you wake up, that English is a real tool you use to live your actual life, not just a subject you study in a textbook.
Moving right along to step 2, talk to yourself.
Now, this might feel a little funny at first, but I promise you, narrating your daily activities is one of the most highly effective techniques used by language learners worldwide. When you're alone in your house, just describe what your hands are doing. If you're making dinner, say, I'm cutting vegetables. The pan is hot. Or if you're tidying up, say, this room is messy. I need to put these books away. Look, your dog or your roommate might look at you funny, but you are giving yourself highly relatable, real-time practice. What this does is it connects English directly to real-life physical actions. Language is an experience, right? By tying English to the smell of dinner cooking or the feeling of organizing a desk, you're grounding the language in reality.
Next up is step 3, think in images, not words.
If you want to stop translating, you have to bypass your native language entirely. And we do this by using sensory and visual anchors. Let's do a quick exercise right now. Take the word cold. When you hear this word, do not let your brain reach for a translation. Instantly visualize it. Picture snow falling. Feel the ice on your fingertips. Literally shiver for a second. You want to force your brain to connect the English letters directly to the physical sensation. Let's try another one. Angry. Instantly picture a furious, bright red face. Imagine someone yelling. Connect the English word to the actual emotion directly. This trains your brain to instantly understand meaning without needing that middleman of translation. Because when native speakers talk, they aren't translating. They're just experiencing the words. And you can build that exact same reflex.
That brings us to step 4, the mindset shift. Keep it simple and imperfect.
To really make this stick, we have to address the biggest emotional barrier holding you back, which is that paralyzing fear of making grammatical mistakes in your own head. So many learners refuse to think in English because they want to wait until they're perfect. They are terrified of being wrong, even privately. And a huge part of this fear comes from the mistake of trying to sound too advanced. You might feel this pressure to construct a massive thought like, I am experiencing significant exhaustion due to today's responsibilities. But natural English is usually incredibly simple. A native speaker in that exact same situation is just going to think, I'm really tired today. Short, direct, simple phrasing. We need to stop trying to impress some invisible audience with massive vocabulary words in our heads.
So, the crucial point is, your thoughts are completely private. If a thought pops into your head like, yesterday I go market, is it grammatically perfect? No. But does it matter? Absolutely not, because nobody can hear your thoughts. If you said that out loud, people would still completely understand you anyway. Focusing on communication and keeping the language flowing is far more important than pausing every 3 seconds to check a mental grammar rulebook. You've got to allow yourself to be delightfully imperfect.
Finally, step 5. Surround yourself with English.
If you only interact with English at a desk, your brain is going to file it away as just homework and naturally reject it the second the study session is over. It needs to become an integrated, breathing part of your daily life. So, here are some highly actionable daily habit shifts that you can implement literally right after this explainer finishes. They only require 5 to 10 minutes a day. Change your phone's operating language to English. Next time you go to the grocery store, write your shopping list in English. Keep a tiny diary by your bed and jot down one English sentence before you sleep. Or open up a chat with yourself on your phone and send yourself short English voice notes. It's not weird at all, it's just really good practice.
All of those little habits bring us to a super vital idiom, consistency over intensity. This means achieving better results through small daily actions rather than rare, massive efforts. Doing 10 minutes of English immersion every single day. Just living your life with your phone in English, making an English grocery list, completely beats sitting down and studying intensely for 5 hours once a month. Your brain adapts to what it does frequently, not what it does intensely but rarely.
Let's move to your fluency blueprint and see how this builds into your long-term success.
Knowing what the psychological timeline looks like is really going to help you stay patient. You will go through these 4 distinct stages. Right now, in stage 1, you translate often. And hey, that is totally fine. But as you implement these small daily habits, you'll move to stage 2. You're going to start having direct, simple thoughts naturally, like, I'm hungry, or it's cold. Then stage 3. You'll start having full-head conversations in English without forcing it. And finally, stage 4, the magical aha moment. One day, you'll be walking down the street, and you will suddenly realize you just thought an entire string of sentences in English without translating a single word. That's the moment your confidence will absolutely skyrocket because your brain has officially adapted.
To wrap up today's explainer, let's look at this comprehensive recap. Remember to avoid double work, that exhausting mental translation. We want to rewire the brain through daily exposure, and we definitely rely on consistency over intensity to get there. Your actionable habits are super clear. Think small thoughts every morning. Tie vocabulary to images instead of your native words, and completely embrace imperfect grammar in your head so that the language can just flow naturally.
I want to leave you with one final provocative question to think about. When will you have your first thought entirely in English today? Will it be when you get up from your chair, when you make your next meal? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take everything you've learned from this explainer and start right now. Claim your next thought in English, and you'll be one step closer to natural, effortless fluency. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next explainer.